I'm sorry guys, I just can't stop making videos about the crafter. I'm absolutely obsessed with this block. So over here on Java Edition, I've put together a few different crafting machines. We will start off with this one here. This is going to be the crafting machine that you're going to use if you only need to craft one item. So for example, if you're wanting to turn stone into buttons, then you would use this one. The other two machines that I'm going to show you will only work if you're crafting a item that requires 2 or more ingredients. So for example, I can give myself a whole bunch of stone, and I'm going to put all of the stone inside of here. And as soon as I do that, you'll notice that the machine is going to turn on automatically. Now, there is a bunch of buttons in here from already testing it out, but you will notice one of two things. One, it is filling this at double hopper speed, and 2, it is very quiet while doing it. This is totally self-sensing, so all you have to do is set this up, and then whenever you need something crafted, you'll come over here and place your source materials inside of here, and then it's going to craft them into your desired component. So essentially what we have here is a crafter block spitting into an output chest. And as mentioned, it is double hopper speed, so we are feeding it with this side hopper here, which is coming down from the chest, and then this hopper is feeding directly into the top of it. Now we are picking up 2 different signals off of each of these 2 hoppers, this one here and this one here. And this is basically checking to see if there is any items inside of these hoppers. If there is, turn the farm on. So we essentially have this comparator here, which is going to sense if there's items in here. If there is, it's going to extend this piston, pushing this observer over, turning this observer clock on, powering this block, and powering the crafter. At the same time, we are doing the exact same thing up here with the comparator. However, in order for this comparator to power the farm, it has to put out over a signal strength of 1. So this one down here will activate with any amount of items inside of it. However, this one here will only activate if there is more than a certain amount. I can't remember what the item amount is off of the top of my head currently, but I can tell you inside of a hopper with 5 slots, it's under a half a stack. So worst case scenario, this hopper will hold up to a half a stack of items, and that's only after the crafter has filled up. However, whenever we get more items that come inside of this hopper and fill it up, that's going to give out a higher signal strength, turning the farm on. And it will also split items down inside of this hopper, which requires only 1 item to be in here in order to turn the farm on. As soon as the crafter makes room inside, because this hopper is pointing straight down into it, it's just going to gravity feed into there. So worst case scenario, it might hold a little bit of items. However, most of the time it's going to clear automatically. And if you ever wanted to, you can simply override this by putting a manual lever here, turning it on, and that's going to force that to run the crafter and craft whatever remaining items you have. Unless you care about the very small amount this thing might hold on to, then it's really not going to matter. And aside from that, it's going to be a fully automatic system aside from loading and unloading it. So yeah, all of your items that require 1 ingredient, use this machine here, and it's going to give you a lot of items very quickly. Now on this side, we have a very simple contraption here, and if you look closely, you can actually see that this is actually 2 single modules put together. So on the left hand side, this is just added on to the pre-existing one. And theoretically, you could tile this as much as you would like. If you were just going to do 1 item recipe, for example, if you were going to take bone meal and then convert all of the bone meal to a bone block, you would not need 2 modules because the final form is going to be the bone block. Unless, of course, you're wanting to convert it back to bone meal or something, which really doesn't make any sense, or use it inside of a different recipe. But if you are wanting multi-stage crafting, like for example, ideally this would be great for using inside of like a gold farm or a piglin bartering farm for the iron nuggets that come out of it. Essentially, you would put a bunch of iron nuggets inside of the input chest here. They're going to be unloaded at double hopper speed going into this crafter. Once they are inside of this crafter, they are going to fill up the crafter like so. Once this gets full, it's then going to power the crafter, outputting a gold ingot. That gold ingot is going to be sent into this hopper and into the back of the secondary crafter. Once all of the gold ingots get into the secondary crafter, once they have enough to fill it all the way up, then it's going to power the crafter and turn these into a gold block, as you can see here. Now, as mentioned, you can also do this with the iron nuggets and realistically any other item that is a non-shaped craftable recipe and also only requires 1 type of material. So for example, if I wanted to take a bunch of planks and turn them into sticks, I would put all of the planks inside of here. I would come down here to the crafter, and from this point towards the left, since I only need to convert it 1 time from the planks to the sticks, then I would only need a single craft. So then everything from this point to the left is not necessary and can be removed. You could take your chest and put it directly in front of that crafter. Then you could toggle into this, remove all of the pre-existing items, and then make your shape for the stick crafting recipe. So I would fill all of these in here. And now you can get a plank here and a plank here that will go in, and that's going to craft a stick. As soon as this is all the way filled up, it's going to power this and send these down the line, whether that is into another crafter or whether that is into a chest or another form of storage system. Same thing goes if I wanted to multi-craft. I could open this all the way up, and like I said, if I wanted to put gold in here, I don't have to pre-fill any of these because we're only dealing with one material. So I could take a whole bunch of gold nuggets and place them inside of the chest here. That's going to automatically start the system. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to power anything on. It's fully automatic aside from loading and unloading it. And that's basically going to start the crafting process. You can see that's going to fill all the way up at double hopper speed. And then as soon as it's filled up, it's going to power it, send it down here. And then once this is all the way filled up, it's going to craft it into gold blocks and send it into this chest, which is wonderful. And you probably don't even need a tutorial to build this. You can pretty much see that we have both of our crafters facing this way along with our hoppers flowing this direction. This crafter here is fed by a double hopper speed. So we have this one going into the side, this one feeding that hopper, and then we have this hopper here going into the side of the crafter there. And then it has a chest on top of it feeding both of those simultaneously. Over here we have a block, a comparator on a subtract mode, which is indicated by the light on the front being turned on. You left click on the comparator in order to enable that. And then this one is not on subtract mode, it's on your standard default mode. The only thing that you need to know is this crafter here is fully empty with 6 of these selected. And that's going to allow us to have a redstone signal of 3, which is going to power this whenever this is totally full. This on the other side is the exact same thing. So this one's on subtract mode, this is on regular mode, and this is also filled up with 6 of these, which is going to give it a redstone output signal of 6. So since the comparator is on subtract mode, we're basically taking the 9 whenever this is full. So that will put out a signal strength of 9. So we are doing 9 minus 6 equals 3, which will then power it right whenever it reaches 9. And this is the backside. Hopefully, like I said, you don't need a tutorial to build it. It's all very straightforward and simple, and there's no hidden blocks. There's really not anything going on here that you don't actually see. So essentially, aside from everything that you see, again, these are going to be subtract mode, not subtract mode, and these signal crafters are going to be ticked with 6 on both of them. But this is great, but we can do better, right? So I ended up compacting this as much as possible. And we basically have this thing to where it sends this thing out very quickly and crafts in a double stage. So it will go from nuggets to ingots to gold blocks in a 4x6 small compact circuit, which is wonderful. So essentially what we have is the input chest here. And this input chest is going to fill this crafter via a hopper on the back of it. And then this hopper is going to go into this hopper, which will go into the side of that crafter. So now we're giving this crafter double hopper speed. Then we have a comparator on subtract mode going into a block with redstone on it, and then towering up directly on top of that crafter so it can power it. So whenever it reaches a signal strength of 3, just like the other one, it will then power the crafter. And just like before, we have this one that has 6 blocks ticked inside of it. So whenever this reaches a signal strength of 9, 9 minus 6 is 3, which will then power the crafter. And then it's going to shoot that directly into another crafter, no hopper needed. And it is very nice because the crafter has the ability to instantly transfer all of their items into a container. So this will instantly send the item over. We don't have to wait for hopper speed. So at this point, this first one has crafted the nuggets into ingots. Now the ingots have been sent over here. And then on this side, we basically have the same thing going on, except we have an extra block here. That way we don't get the redstone all jumbled up at the top and intertwined. So this comparator is reading this crafter through this block here. And just like all of the other ones, it's on subtract mode. So it's going to subtract. On this side, we have the crafter here with, again, a signal strength of 6. And then that means since this is on a subtract mode, we're then again going to take 9 minus 6, which will then give us an output of 3, which will then power that one and not power the other one. That way it's all totally independent. Again, hopefully you should not need a tutorial in order to build this one. It's the same concept, it's just configured differently. So I'll do a quick wrap around here, that way you can take a look at it. And like I said, there's no hidden blocks or anything like that. Just make sure that both of your crafters are facing this way towards your output chest. Make sure the comparators under the blocks are set to subtract mode. Make sure these are not set to subtract mode. And make sure that these are on 6. And I will continue going around just so you guys can get a good idea what this thing is like being built. And hopefully not need a tutorial for it. So to test this thing out, let's go ahead and give it some items. And it is going to basically function the exact same way, just a lot more compact. So it's going to fill this thing up very quickly. And as soon as that gets filled up, it's going to spit out a ingot directly into here. And as you can see, this thing fills very, very quickly. Then as soon as this one gets all the way filled up, it's going to spit out a gold block here, which is exactly what we need. With that being said, that's going to wrap up the tutorial. Again, as I mentioned, these are all going to work in Bedrock Edition and inside of Java Edition as well, which does also include the multi-platform, console, mobile phone, and all of the other ones. If you missed the beginning of the video and you need other sorters, I've already made quite a few different sorting machines using this new crafter block, and they are all going to be linked down inside the description below. For your convenience, I'll include a full materials list down inside the description below. While you're down there, drop a like, it really does help out the channel. And if you have not already done so, consider subscribing, that way you don't miss any of these upcoming videos. Because I'm going to continue playing with this crafter block, and you surely don't want to miss it because this thing is phenomenal. With that being said, that'll be all from me. I will see you guys next time. Bye!